last Trump ally who was still in prison for 2020 election-related crimes is now being granted clemency and could be released from custody in just over 2 weeks, but not by the president. Instead, Colorado's Democratic governor, Polis, says that election denier Tina Peters will get clemency after admitting that she, quote, made a mistake and misled Colorado election officials. Now, Peters, you may remember, is the former election clerk who is convicted of conspiring with fellow election deniers to breach her own county's election systems in an attempt to prove President Trump's baseless claims of voter fraud in the 2020 election. Now, the president, who launched a very intense pressure campaign on state officials to release her, reacted to this news tonight, posting, quote, "Free Tina." Now, Governor Polis is reducing Tina Peters' 9-year prison sentence in half to 4.5 years. He said she could be paroled, though, within a month after serving less than 2 years in prison. And Governor Polis joins me again tonight. And thank you, sir, for being here. A lot of people might look at this and say, Tina Peters was convicted by a jury of her peers in a conservative-leaning county, no less. Why did you decide to commute her sentence?
I have to start, Caitlin, by correcting just one thing in the lead-in. She did not commit any crimes regarding the 2020 election. She certified President Biden won. This was after the 2021. It was a small municipal election in the town. The results were counted, no ballots were compromised, but she went in and illegally tried to copy software before an update came. So nothing to do with President Trump's election. Just wanted to make that clear. What the appeals court found, and what I agree, is that fundamentally she deserves time, and she committed 4 felonies. Those are going to stay on her record. We're continuing to fight the president's bogus attempt to pardon her in court. But the truth of the matter is that her speech, meaning her conspiratorial beliefs and what she believes in, are certainly an anathema to me and most of your viewers, and I strongly disagree with. But those are not the basis and should not be the basis for a longer sentence than somebody would normally get for this crime. And that's really what the sentence reduction is all about.
There's been blowback from Democrats and Republicans for this. Your Democratic AG called it mind-boggling and wrong as a matter of basic justice. The Mesa County Republican District Attorney who prosecuted her said it was misguided and misunderstood decision that undermines accountability and erodes confidence in the integrity system. The Clerks Association in Colorado said that they're furious, disgusted, and deeply disappointed by the reckless and dangerous message this sends. What message do you think it sends?
Well, first of all, I commuted the sentences of 9 people today. I pardoned 35. Tina Peters was not among those. The Attorney General and the prosecuting attorney from Mesa County were part of the prosecution. And there's something about prosecutorial pride. Prosecutors are seldom, if ever, satisfied by the commutations I make, and sometimes they're quite mad. What a commutation is effectively saying we're going to look at the sentence as a whole. Was it different than other people that committed the same crime? There was, in fact, another public official in Colorado convicted of 4 felonies. One was the exact same felony as Tina Peters, and she got 0 time in prison. She got probation only. Had Tina Peters gotten 1 year or 2 years or even 3, I don't think anybody would have batted an eye. But the reason we're here is because I fundamentally agree with the appeals court that the fact that she engages in speech and has beliefs that are far from the mainstream, incorrect, should not, in fact, be a basis for harsher sentencing. And 4.5 years instead of 9 years, that's what we adjusted it to, is frankly a tough but fair and defensible sentence for the crimes that she committed.
I just want to follow up on what you said about this having nothing to do with the 2020 election. For people who didn't follow this closely, Tina Peters did give Mike Lindell, who everyone knows is the My Pillow guy, her badge, basically, her someone else's security badge, so he could go in and access the Mesa County election system. And when this was happening, prosecutors said that she was fixated on voting problems after the 2020 election, and had questioned the accuracy of those. And
well, Caitlin, I just hate to interrupt you. This was related to the 2021 municipal election. In the 2020 election,
but
she certified
did she give
the
Mike
results.
Lindell?
Biden won.
Did Mike Lindell get access to the election system or not?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. She had 2 co-conspirators in the case. She illegally got one access to her after 2021. None of these crimes were in 2020. None of them had to do with President Trump's election. If they did, this would be a very different story, and we wouldn't be where we are. This had to do with a minor municipal election and software.
But it came after the President of the United States tried to overturn the 2020 election, and she was obviously a massive ally of his. And Mike Lindell, didn't come out of nowhere. He was also chief among those leading the 2020 election. So I just think saying that they're totally separated is not how people view this.
You're speaking to her beliefs. She is somebody who probably, you'd have to ask her, believes in something happening with the 2020 election. Her crimes were not related to the actual election. She was county clerk. She certified Biden won. Trump happened to win her county. It's a conservative county. Her crimes were entirely related to the 2021 municipal election. After ballots were counted, nothing was compromised. She had two co-conspirators. They did everything as bad as she did. One got 6 months. One got probation only. And the unusual sentence for Tina, she had a poor defense, and as the appeals court with 3 Democratic appointed appeals justices found, she was ultimately punished for her beliefs and what she said rather than what she did.
Yeah, and the appeals court was still working its way out. You know, you noted in your letter explaining this and her statement that she also put out that she's taken responsibility for her crimes and made a commitment to follow the law going forward. When you look at her website, it says that she's the victim of a politically motivated prosecution. Her Twitter account just reposted someone who urged the president to, quote, invade Colorado if you have to, do whatever needs to be done to free political prisoner leaders. I understand what you're saying about free speech and what she's allowed to say, but does that sound like someone who respects the rule of law to you?
She has very strange beliefs. She'll probably continue to have them. We don't punish people in this country for having strange beliefs. If you believe the earth's flat, you don't get, and you shouldn't get in our nation or my state, a harsher sentence than somebody believes that the earth is round. And that's what happened here because of her speech and what she believes, which I vehemently disagree with. And I share the passion and the emotions that so many people feel who are outraged by the words she says. But the place to resolve those differences is by debate, by discourse, by arguing with her, by disputing her, not for keeping her behind bars simply because of what she believes or says.
Did the president and what he said repeatedly, publicly, have anything to do with your decision to commute her sentence?
It certainly made it a lot harder. Absolutely. President Trump tends to muck up everything he gets involved with. He does not understand this case. He thought he got her age wrong. He actually thought, like you did, Kaitlan, it had something to do with the 2020 election. It did not. Nothing to do with the 2020 election. She did her job. She certified Biden won. 2021 election was what it was. And yeah, it absolutely made it harder to do. But it'll never, President Trump's never going to deter me from doing the right thing.
Governor Jared Polis, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Also here with us is the Colorado Secretary of State, Jena Griswold. Secretary, you heard what the governor said there, explaining his decision, why he thinks this was the right call. What's your response to what you just heard from him?
Well, overall, I think this is the wrong decision, and it's a gross injustice to our elections, our democracy, and election officials across this country. And frankly, Tina Peters' actions has everything to do with the 2020 election. The governor is correct that she facilitated the compromising of voting equipment during 2021. But make no mistake, the intent of her work was to try to prove Trump's big lie. And Kaitlan, just to clarify, Tina Peters did not let Mike Lindell into the voting equipment. There was someone else. But she did take the images of the voting equipment. Those were taken to Mike Lindell's cyber symposium, where they were supposedly going to prove once and for all how the election really was for Trump. Of course, it's a bunch of conspiracies. So I think overall, Tina Peters committed a crime. The judicial process should have been given the time to work out her sentencing. There was an active resentencing happening right now. And overall, this grant of clemency is the wrong message to send in a time when our democracy is in crisis.
In her statement, Tina Peters said, following this commutation, I misled the Secretary of State when allowing a person to gain access to county voting equipment. That was wrong. Going forward, I will make sure that my actions always follow the law. You are the Secretary of State. You were the Secretary of State when this happened. Do you believe her?
Absolutely not. This is someone who really basked in the celebrity of MAGA conspiracy-fueled craziness and used her actions to fuel lies and further disinformation about our elections. And those lies, those conspiracies have been used to attack elections and threaten election officials. I do not think that Tina Peters has shown remorse. I do believe in the judicial process. And as the governor said, the Court of Appeals did cite an issue with her sentencing and sent it back to the district court to resentence. Whatever that district court would have decided would have been fine. But I don't think that she should get special treatment. She has caused a lot of danger and damage in Colorado. But more than just that, this sends a message to Trump's followers that if they break the law, well, they might get off just fine. This sends a message to Donald Trump that if he retaliates hard enough, he'll be able to get a state to do his bidding. And this tells election officials that however hard we work, some people may just be above the law if they attack American democracy. That's a dangerous, dangerous message to send the country right now.
Colorado Secretary of State Jena Griswold, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you.